Hey everyone, this is Gloria and I am live. Haven't been live like, just like raw um on this channel in like forever. And I just wanted to pop in and wish you guys all a happy new year and everything. And I'm gonna take a little picture of myself. Okay, we need to put this on auto. Let's see. Who's on right now? Pop in, pop in. Okay. I don't think I took the picture. What's going on? Kind of cool. Hey. All right, guys, pop in, pop in. So I wanted to come live. I want to wish everybody a happy new year. And take some artsy photos. That's pretty cool. Oh my god, that's pretty cool. You want to see? Let's see if I can show that to you. Can you see that? So I'm just playing around with my camera. I have it on manual and raw photos, and I'm just learning it, so I still got a lot to learn. I was taking pictures of the hummingbird right now that's outside of my window. So I just wanted to come in and talk to you guys here. I know I keep changing the name. I think I'm just going to leave it at Gloria Medrano. I was seeing what name best brings what I do in search engines and things like that. But honestly, I think I'm just going to leave it at my name. I think that's what is most familiar with people. I deactivated my Instagram, and the reason why is because when you deactivate your Instagram and leave it alone for a little while, what happens is that when you decide to reactivate it, the algorithm has to readjust itself. So in fact, I mean, that's what I read. I don't know, like, that's what I read, and I have done it before, and what ends up happening is that the algorithm seems to readjust itself, and then you get pushed out, to the universe, to the people that are on Instagram, however it works. I don't know what the terminology is, but you get pushed out, and that it kind of refreshes itself, basically. So that's basically what I'm doing. And then it gives me a chance to concentrate on TikTok and YouTube. So YouTube has been giving me a lot of love right now. So I am trying to build that up so that we get a good following, so that when I bring on guests to interview, it's got a good, a good, what do you call it? A good reputation on it and stuff. So we want to do that with that. I went live from the raw, not from live streaming equipment, which is what I originally used, live streaming equipment. And for me, because I don't do all of the fancy videos and stuff like that, I don't know how to do that. I kind of do, but I don't have the time, because I still work a full-time job. But because I do everything that I do is just live in raw, as is, and when I use the YouTube and I just go straight live from the actual YouTube platform, it actually likes that, and it liked it so much so that, the views have been going way up to the thousands. So when I'm using the streaming platforms, what happens is it doesn't, I don't know if it's registering or what, but it's not telling people the same way that when you go raw straight from the YouTube. So the views were only 40, 50, when now the whole viewing system has absolutely changed. Lots and lots and lots of engagement on YouTube. So I've got people regularly now tuning in to the YouTube every Sunday. It's not the biggest platform or anything, but the good thing is that there's a regular following. So there are people that like the content, that are getting ministered to, because first and foremost, that's what I am. That's what I do. That's my whole lifestyle, is ministering the gospel, right? And then I have a lot of other cool things that I do too, such as camera work. So I'm quite excited about that stuff. And then I wanted to invite you to come over to the platform, if that is what you are interested in. The content that I do on YouTube is a regular ministry based content. So it is going to be, I always talk about emotional healing, emotional stability, because I think that is the what we think is what we are. So if you can get your emotional, if you can become emotionally stable and understand your emotions, then you can kind of navigate life in a whole different lens, like the way that I'm navigating life through this Canon. So I had to learn the Canon. I did have no clue when I first got it, which was about 2 months ago, how to use the thing. You know, I have no clue. I know how to use my phone, but to use this, I did not know. So I had to go in, study it. Thank God for YouTube, that people that create content that you can go on and take a class for free, you know, and learn how to use things like this. And now I can see the world through the lens of a Canon camera, but I can also create memories through the Canon camera, okay? The same thing happens in your mind. And I'm kind of just, you know, cheekily, you know, just kind of using this as an example. Your mind has so many things going on, and it is the place that creates memories, right? It creates emotions, and then it also creates connections. But if it is all miswired because of hurt and pain and things that we hold on to, such as, you know, whatever else was in this camera, which was being held through a little thing in here called an there's a battery, but there's also something called an SD card inside of here, and it holds all of my memory, okay? And when I got the camera, it doesn't come with an SD card. How do I know that? I don't know that, right? I had to learn that. So there's nothing in there. There's no, you can't hold the photos. So you have to have this thing, okay? And sometimes it gets cluttered up with things, you know, bad photos that I didn't take right. You know, in the midst of practicing, I had to learn how to erase the bad photos that I don't want because they're not good, because they were in the midst of practice, right? And so they didn't come out right. And so I had to learn that, you know, there's a thing in there that I could delete there, the stuff in here, right? So it's like our mind, it stores stuff, okay? And it stores the bad, it also stores the good, okay? But we have to relearn that we have the power. This has to be operated by me, right? I am operating this. It does not have its power by itself. But we have been given power and authority through Jesus Christ. When we have come to accept Jesus as our personal Lord and Savior, there's something called the Holy Spirit, and we have been given authority to conquer all of those things, right? But we have to learn it. It's a learning process. And as we go through, you know, some of the things that, you know, trigger us, that hurt us, that, you know, are bad memories, that situations that we don't want to go in those situations, we avoid them. We don't you know, want to deal with that because it's hurtful. But we can go into those situations and we can recreate that memory. And when we go in and we recreate that memory, we can turn it into something that is memorable in a good sense, in a good way, instead of it being in a bad way, right? So in relationship wise, that might look like you being, you know, you redoing something over because you're not in the same relationship that you were before. and now you're scared to go into any kind of new relationship because of that bad memory, right? But you can make it what it could possibly be. You have the power and authority to make it different by learning. But you have to aggressively learn. You have to intentionally relearn. So you got to go in, read your word. What does it say about you? And then when you are faced with uncomfortable or difficult situations that make you remember back to, things that aren't so good, that bring up feelings, and remember, feelings can lie to you. We don't go on our feelings because they will lie to you. Okay, they will say, oh, all these people are all the same. All women, they're all the same. They all want the same thing. They just want to take men's money. That's what I hear a lot, because I ran a singles group. So, they just want to take men's money. Not all women want to take men's money. So, we got to learn to compartmentalize things, okay? Maybe one person that you were in relationship with was like that, but not everyone is like that. And so what happens is you go into a relationship, and now it seems, one thing happens that triggers you emotionally, and you think that one thing in that new person is now how they are, but you don't know how they are because you haven't got to know them yet. So now you've already made a decision about people, and then you just don't give anybody a chance. So we have to kind of relearn things. We have to kind of be brave enough to go and make friends with people. We have to, and it's all uncomfortable. It's a really uncomfortable thing, just as uncomfortable as it is with me trying to learn this. But I absolutely love to learn this. I absolutely love to, learn to hold the memories in this little memory card, and then what is not good that I didn't do correctly, that I can redo, I can erase in that memory card. And so, now when I come, now that, we're going into 2025, the year 2025, you guys. And when we look back at our last year, 2024, how many missed opportunities did you have? Like, there were things at the beginning of the year we were like, oh yeah, this is going to be a good year. I've got this plan, I've got that resolution plan. I'm going to lose this weight. I'm going to be in the gym and make some, build some muscles, and I'm going to, drink that protein, and I'm going to, eat right. And how many of you did that and didn't succeed? Right? And a lot of missed opportunities. Like, I'm going to actually go on that date. I'm going to actually meet that girl. I'm going to actually, meet that guy. And did you actually do that? No, probably because you were scared. So, you're not getting any younger. Okay? None of us are. So, you have to make it a point, make it a decision that you say to yourself, I'm so over, like, worrying about what people think, Of course, you don't want people to think you're a weirdo or something, so, but, when you get to a certain age, like, you're over 40, you don't got the time. And you don't have that in you where you have, like, like you did when you were a teenager, where you're like, where you think you have all the time and you can date all these people, that's not, that's not, it's not the same thing. So, when you're older and you act like that, it is a very immature thing. But when you're young, it's you learning. So, it is, we come to a place where, we have to decide, like, it's not, I'm going to live a life that is going to please God, for one, but also that I feel happy and fulfilled in, and do the things that I really want to do before I can't do them anymore. Because you get old after you start hitting 40, all those other ages come real fast. Like, I was just with my mom, and I still cannot believe that she turned 80. It scared me. I'm still scared. And I think about, she turned 80? She's so young and vibrant and full of life. Like, she still is, even now. But, she's funny and she's extroverted and, but as I'm looking at her, I remember the days when, she was young and beautiful and, chasing my kids when they were babies and holding them and, just so full of life. And just in the blink of an eye, she's 80. And so I'm like, oh my God, that's going to happen to me. And so, like, what I want to see happen is I want to see people, live on this earth feeling fulfilled, feeling full of life, and feeling happy. I mean, there's ladies that you read about who started working out when they were 50, and now they're bodybuilders at age 80. So, I mean, if they can do it, what's stopping any of us? Not that we're all going to be bodybuilders, but, like, what's stopping you from going back to school, or what's stopping you from going on that trip around the world that you always dreamed of doing? What's stopping you from, meeting that person that you really wanted to meet? And a lot of times, like, here's a little hint, okay, guys. Guys think that pretty girls, and I'm not saying that I'm pretty or anything like that, I'm not trying to say that, but what I'm saying is, guys, like most guys think that pretty girls have all these guys after them. They think that they think that they're stuck up. They think that they're not kind. They think that they think all these things. So they don't even bother, like, asking you out. They may look, they may even flirt, but and then there's this talk of, she's high maintenance. Don't go for a girl who's high maintenance, because you'll be spending all your money. I mean, is that a way to really think? Like, I heard people say this, and I'm like, wow, that is insane. You're teaching your young men that? Like, you're teaching your son that. And I'm like, that's insane. That is teaching your kid to be lazy. Teaching your man to just be, like, get a girl who you don't have to do, like, you don't have to do anything for, like, but again, back to the pretty girl thing, that's not the case. A lot of pretty girls, not most, but there's a lot of girls out there that they're very kind. And I know them. They're very down to earth. They're not high maintenance, but they keep themselves beautiful. And they don't get asked out because their guys are scared of them because they're pretty, you know. And if they do get asked out, the guy's really nervous. It's just insane. So if you're gonna we have to get that mentality like out of our head. Do you know what I mean? So it is one of those things where you just have to like wake up one day, like I do, and I realized my mom is 80. Oh my God, she's 80, and I've already lived a full life. I've done the traveling. I've, been to most places, still have a lot more places to go, and I still travel all over the place. I still have a lot of, things that I want to learn and plan, even have thoughts of, retiring early and going back to school. Not to stop, not to retire, to just, veg out on a couch somewhere and watch TV. That would not be my life. I don't even have a TV. So that would never be my life. I have a hard time even going to the movies. So I decided a long time ago that that's the way I was going to live my life. That, I was gonna love the Lord and teach others. Create a platform where I can, use my giftings to encourage people to go out and explore and to look at the world. When I came back to America after living in London, I realized that not a lot of people know a lot about the world. They really don't. And, the only way that you can know about the world is if you've traveled, but even more so if you've lived in another country. So, if you've only ever lived in America, and visited another country for like 2 weeks, that's traveling. That's doing some touristing stuff. But when you've actually lived in another country, that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other experience. That's a whole other world of wisdom that opens up to you. And what it has given to me is it's given me the ability to land somewhere, anywhere, another town, another country, and build a community from scratch. That's what I've learned how to do. Build a community from scratch. So if you are a church out there and you're looking for an outreach pastor, that would be me. So I am the ultimate outreach pastor. So if I can do that, and I'm shy. I'm I'm not really shy, but I'm more of a shy natured person. But I do a lot of very extroverted things. So, what is that, an ambivert or whatever they call that? I don't even know. But, I'm just wanting to encourage you into 2025 to do the thing. Don't stop planning. We plan things to death. When I moved to England, I never even in my life could even comprehend the planning that we had to do. I'm a natural, born doer. Like I am in the generation where, my dad didn't throw me in the water to sink or swim, but he did definitely threw my brother in the ocean. and said, sink or swim, because my brother wouldn't learn how to swim. He really, we're in lessons to like the highest level, and I knew how to swim like excellent, and took lifeguard training and all the things. My brother had a really hard time, but until my dad threw him, it wasn't really literally in the ocean, it was in the bay, but until my dad threw him over the boat into the bay and said sink or swim, my brother, decided he knew how to swim. That was the day we laugh about it. It's not good. I don't encourage you to do that, but he was scared to death, and he learned how to swim through trauma. So, and sometimes we think of those things as really bad and it's really abusive and all the things, but sometimes young men need to learn some things the hard way, and that's what builds wisdom. And it's even for women, I mean, I can't really like compare it to my life because my life was pretty extreme in that area, but and I learned a lot of things the hard way, but I had some really good people that came into my life. I was in foster care, so I had some really good people who intervened into my life and showed me a whole other world of family and what other people do in their home, how they live, and in this family, they didn't have a TV. They weren't TV watchers. They had a library of books. And that's what I, in my young teen years, was surrounded by. And that's where I read my first book from front to back, all the way through. And I read, I could read, but I used to, when I was little, enjoy reading the encyclopedias that my aunt had at her house, which were encyclopedias of animals. And so I always thought I'd become, a zoologist or something like that. Definitely want to work in the San Diego Zoo. I still have a membership, so I always have. But, I grew up out of that. I don't like animals. I don't like to, pick up animal poop that much. but I learned, I learned some things living with this family and reading books and things, and I learned a whole other world. There was a whole other world of experiences that I could, open up to, not just zoology, but there was also humanities. There was also, anthropology, the study of cultures and people. There's also humanity. There's so many other things that are in my interest, and that they opened up to me because of, what the things that they did in their life. That was what they did. They were humanitarians, and that is what caused me to have a love and a passion for the world, and want to get involved in humanitarian works. That's what, that's not what led me to Jesus, but, coming to Jesus was a different thing, and combining the two experiences. Jesus isn't an experience. Jesus is a love story. Jesus is a relationship, but having Jesus and having the experience or learning of humanitarian, imagine what you can do with that. So some of you are listening, and you're gonna listen on the replay. Maybe you're probably at work and things, and you're thinking about the new year and what possibilities could happen in the new year. And like, for some of you, you got to just sink or swim. You got to just jump in, and you got to just live the life. You can't just live life at a job. That's not living life. That's going to work and making your money so that you can pay your bills. But living life is actually doing the things, coming out of your comfort zone, doing things you never did before, meeting people you never would ever imagine meeting before, going to those places that, scare the life out of you, and realizing that they're not that scary. They're just like you. And that they want you to pay attention to them too, as much as you want them to pay attention to you. And go to those places that, that you probably wouldn't think of going to. Take a class that you wouldn't ordinarily take, that would be like, I don't think, it's like a lot of guys are like, I don't think I would ever take an etiquette class. An etiquette class, that's for girls. But to be honest, there are men that do take those classes. There's men that take those classes, and those are the men that actually know how to actually treat a woman, because they have experienced what that is like on that side of things. So, that helps them to dress better, to groom themselves better, and all kinds of stuff. And that all just happens from, just going out there and doing some things that are different. So with that said, I want to encourage you to go into 2025, go in and just stop with the resolution thing, stop with all the planning, just go and do the thing. And don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to make the mistakes. I've made all kinds of mistakes. I don't know how to take pictures. I'm learning how to do the thing where it fades out in the back. It's not perfect. And I'm, a lot of us, the people that follow me are generally around the age of 40 and that, but, and if you're at that age, you're not perfect, and so just keep doing the thing. Just keep going out there and exploring and making mistakes. And, even if you're a Christian, we get boxed up into this, this agenda that somebody else has for us. Your pastor has an agenda for you, and you're boxed up in that. And if you even try to even move out of that with a different mindset or different thing that you want to do, the different thing that you want to go and explore, a different way that you feel like God wants to move, God is unlimited. He is, there's unlimited resources in serving God, and the world has evolved and it's changing. So it's not going to be the same as when we were kids and we first got saved, and we just put up our signs on the street corner and said Jesus loves you. There's the whole internet where people need Jesus. Then they need to be told about Jesus. And we think that there's enough of us and that it's saturated, and it's not. There's a lot of people there, but there might be a need for someone just like you, or just like me, but I went into it thinking, I know I could do that because I'm just that kind of a person. I have a big ego. I'm sorry, but my dad gave me a big old ego. He was so proud of me, and I'm the oldest, and that's how the oldest child is. And I know that about me, and I went into this going, I know I can do that. I can totally do that. If I could survive living in another country, building a community, coming back, you know, going through the things that I went through, you know, with churches, pastors that I knew for a zillion years abandoning me, and, you know, and everything, and just assuming, not even reaching out, not even a phone call, not nothing, just assuming that I was already backslidden, which I never backslid ever. And if I can go through that, can you imagine the hurt that can cause someone? People that has happened to have committed suicide. People that has happened to cannot recover sometimes. So can you imagine going through that? Well, that happened to me, and not only did I go through that, but I excelled in the things that I did. So, like, you know, I'm not somebody to be, you know, reckoned with, I guess you could say. Maybe that's the word, I don't know. And on top of that, you know, who I am naturally, but on top of that, the person that I love the most is Jesus. So, like, you know, God just took me and said, baby girl, you're not done yet. And I believed him. What are you believing? What are you believing today, guys? So go out, go do the thing. Stop the planning, stop all of the, you know, New Year's resolution mumbo jumbo talk. Just go do the thing. Do it scared. Go out there and see the world. At least go out there and see your own neighborhood. A lot of times we don't even know our own neighborhood. Like we're scared to even meet our neighbors. We're scared to even go for a walk down the street with our dog and say hi. You know, there was this, let me tell you another story before I end here. When I lived in England, I made cookies for our whole entire neighborhood. Like we made cookies, you know, I would make them like, you know, during the seasonal times, like when it got to like a Christmassy season. Me and my girls would make the cookies while my son was eating the cookies. We would make cookies and we would distribute them to all of the neighbors, all up and down the street, all over the place. And my daughters just loved doing that. They loved giving their cookies that they made to some happy person that said thank you. Well, there was this one man, and he would always take the cookie, but he never said thank you. You know, he didn't even want to talk half the time. You know, and my daughters would say, well, why didn't he say thank you? And I was like, I don't know. And so we stopped giving him cookies. I said, so we're going to just stop giving him cookies because I don't know why he's not even saying thank you. And so one day as I was walking by, you know, this was maybe a year later after I had stopped making the cookies. I was just walking by, you know, probably going to the bus or something, and he was outside like he normally was, you know, and he stopped me and he said, hey, mate, where's the cookies? And he goes, I wait for them every year. And I go, you do? I didn't say anything, like I didn't say I stopped making it because you didn't say thank you. But I said, oh, we didn't realize that you wanted the cookies. And he goes, no, I do. I look forward to the cookies. And I go, I didn't know that. And he goes, can I share something with you? You know, because of course they know that I live in the church, so I'm obviously a church person. You know, and the only American in town, so obviously you would know me because I'm the only American in town. So he said, my son attempted to commit suicide 5 times. And he said, I have been so torn, so depressed, so confused, so angry with God. And he said, half the time I can't even talk. And I said, I was just like, I was gutted. My heart sunk to my belly. And when I still talk about that, I still choke up and want to cry, because it was a big wake-up call to the way I viewed people. Back then I was only, young girl in my 30s, late 30s. And I was like, forget that dude. He's not going to say thank you. Forget that dude. That's, how I was. And maybe not that mean, but, I was like, well, I don't want to bug him. So when I heard that story shook me so much that I never looked at people ever again the same way. I had a little more empathy and a little more realization that maybe someone is really going through something. Maybe they're really going through something. Maybe they really look forward to something good, because nothing good is happening. And that little snack, that little cookie that we made from our hearts, even though he didn't have the energy or ability to say thank you, it was making his day. And I didn't know that. So I never like look at people and think, maybe every once in a while if they cut me off on the freeway, but I am more aware that somebody could be having a really bad day, that we don't know about. And that chokes me up. So I hope that story leaves you with, going into 2025 doing something amazing. It doesn't have to be like something like, you don't have to do something that is going to prove to the world anything. Do it because it's something that you wanted to do. It is okay to think about ourselves, and sometimes we serve God to a fault. And I don't mean that we serve God to a fault like that we're serving him, but that we compare that, or we blend that in with serving people that have their own agenda for our lives. Okay, that's not God's intent. His intent is to have him in our lives in a unique way. So what is that unique way that you have? What do you bring to the table in your environments, in your world, and in your places, wherever you go? So I'm going to leave you with that. I love you guys. Lord, just bless your people. Lord, heal hearts, heal minds, and bring emotional healing to those who have been wounded in their emotions and in their feelings. And we take authority over the enemy and his lies. The devil just loves to steal, kill, and to destroy, and he is the father of lies. So if you are having feelings that for a fact are not good, that's the lie of the enemy. He's trying to take your life. So don't believe him. And I bind that up in the name of Jesus. So go out into the world, do something good in 2025, guys. I love you. Bye.